Alright, Eli Skinner here again with Simplify Real Estate at our Monday morning meeting, and we are working through a bunch of stuff. As you can see, we've already crossed off 4 things. We're up to the top one. It's a long one, and I'm not going to take forever, but I do want you to kind of get, it's funny the agent that really wanted to talk about this isn't here, but really wanted to talk about these things quickly so that you understand the basic differences and how to handle them. A short sale. Anybody know what a short sale is? No, okay, you probably do. I know, you just don't want to answer on tape. So a short sale is when you are, here's the bar for what you owe on loan is right here. And the money that you're gonna get from your transaction comes in here. It fell short of what's owed on the loan. Okay? You'd love to be able to see these markers up, it'd be cool. That's what a short sale is. It's when you are not getting enough money on the sale of the property to pay off a lien by your mortgage company, a lien by the IRS, a lien from a lawsuit that you lost, whatever. Taxes, whatever's owed. If it falls short, or a HELOC, a second mortgage, I mean, there's a million ways, a million things that could fall short, but that's all it is. But here's the problem. If you fall short, you cannot sell, because those liens have to be cleared up, paid in full, to sell the house. I've had 2 recently where we bought a house, clear title, we went to sell it months later because we flipped it, and one of them was a month later. But between the time we bought the house and sold the house, a lien showed up that was from the previous owners. And let's not talk about title insurance right now. But we literally had to pay that lien that wasn't even ours in order to sell the house. Now we're fighting to get our money back, but we had to clear it up. One of them was a weed lien because Greenwood mowed 4 times and charged us $400 each time or something. So we had to pay like $1,600. Well, had we refused to pay that, we would not have sold the house. Okay? So liens have to be cleared up. That's a short sale. So had we not gotten enough money from the property, from the sale of the property to pay that $1,600, and my seller had no money and couldn't bring the extra, then it would now have been a short sale on the taxes, on that lien, on that weed lien, for instance. Or we wouldn't have paid the whole mortgage off, or something would have fell short. That's what a short sale is. Short sales have to be approved by the lien holder. So most of the time you're going to be shorting a first mortgage just the way it is. If you have a second, you're likely going to be shorting the second mortgage, maybe both. All right, they're going to split the shortage, whatever. But short sales have to be approved. Right now, I won't actually show it to you, who it is, but I've got forms. I want to show you who it is. I've got forms right here, short sale forms, okay? I'm working on a Wells Fargo short sale, okay? Now, this tells you everything you need to know about doing a short sale with Wells Fargo, okay? That's because I've got to get it approved. I've got to go through all this process with the beautiful bank that everybody loves, called Wells Fargo, and get them to say, hey, you can't sell the house for $250, and because you owe $240. House isn't selling at the number that you needed to sell it to pay us off in full, so we're going to allow you to sell it for at least this, but it could be more. They're going to give you a number maybe. That's what your goal is, to get a number from them that, hey, we'll sell it at this price, $220. So they're going to take a certain shortage. That's perfect, okay? It has to be approved. Sometimes they're going to get approved after you've got an offer. Sometimes most of the time you're trying to get it approved before you even have it listed fully. Just get it ready, okay? That's a short sale. They stink. They take forever. Tell your buyers who want to buy a short sale, cool, we'll buy a short sale. As long as you're cool with like it taking 6 months. I started working on one short sale, start to finish, it was like 5 or 6 months. Okay, that was from the time I got the good client saying yes, working with a piece of crap bank that had no idea what they were doing because they never actually hold mortgages. They sold them all. Well, Well, this one they happened to hold for some reason, the only one in like Indiana, so they had no idea how to work a short sale. So I had to help them through the process. It was a terrible nightmare. It could take forever, okay? Short sales are long. All right, REO, real estate owned. This is bank owned, okay? These are foreclosed homes that have been through this process, the sheriff's sale already, didn't get sold, bank took them back, and now they're selling them on the market. That's real estate owned. That does not have a seller's disclosure because the bank has no clue what is going on with the house. So they don't have a residential sales disclosure. One of the few exempt times you don't have to have a sales disclosure is on a bank owned an REO house. Short sale, who owns the house? The homeowner. They still own it. Yes, you're working with the bank because they're a lien holder that has to get paid off and has to agree to accept less than they're owed and release the house to be sold even though they're not going to get paid in full. So they're agreeing, the bank's agreeing to the sale of the house, but they're not in charge of the house. Okay, the seller is still in charge of the house, the buyer, the homeowner is, sorry. REO, real estate owned. This is bank owned. The bank owns this house. So this is where it's listed online. The bank actually owns the property. So there's no residential sales disclosure. This is very normal, runs very typical. A lot of times they're gonna force you to use they're gonna force you to use their title company, but it's gonna sure feel like it. They're gonna say, you're gonna sign an addendum that says we agree to let you use our title company, or hey, or we will pay the owner's policy unless you choose, and then in that event, we will not pay the owner's policy. And you're like, okay, do I wanna spend $800 more and use my company? Or do I want to save my clients $800 and use their company? It's likely worth using your company and them spending $800 extra bucks because it's terrible sometimes with these bank-owned title companies. Okay, yeah, it's like what was that university that popped up? The University of Phoenix, like popped up and disappeared. It's like you don't really know where they're at, you don't know what they do, don't know their validity. And they're really, really tough to work with sometimes. So, but that is bank-owned homes. It's very similar to a typical transaction, unlike a short sale. That is not typical transaction. It's terrible. REO, pretty normal. Okay. A sheriff's sale is what happens before this. Okay. Sheriff's sale is what happens before so sheriff's is where the people haven't paid their mortgage. Maybe they've tried a short sale and it didn't happen. So now the bank has started the foreclosure proceedings. Eventually the house winds up literally down there on the chopping block at the sheriff's office. It's down in Johnson County, and you go down there on, I can't remember what day it is, like something Thursday of the month, and there's a whole bunch of houses and a whole bunch of investors standing in there with cash or with cashier's checks, and they're buying houses for whatever. The bank sets a number. So this is Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo's got a house down at the sheriff's sale, and Wells Fargo says, okay, the starting bid is, here's the judgment. Judgment's for $427,000. Starting bid on this house is $380,000. So if nobody bids $380,000 or higher on that house, the bank either A, cancels the foreclosure, or B, buys it back at $380,000. So now they don't actually have to pay for it, but they take that house back into their now inventory, okay? If somebody buys it, boom, it's theirs. There's no redemption period. It's literally your house. And the bank didn't want it. They said, you bid $380,000, it's yours, right? Which that should tell you something. That the short sale, if you could have got a $380,000 price on a short sale, they probably would have taken that too. Except for here, they don't have to pay all the fees for real estate agents and all that stuff, title companies and all that. So that's what the sheriff's sale is, though. Wells Fargo says sell it at the sheriff's sale. You go sell it. If it doesn't sell to an investor, then Wells Fargo gets it back. And once they get it back, then it becomes an REO, and then they have one of their agents put it on the market, and then we go buy it off the market. Okay? Any questions on those real quick? That's how the sheriff's sale works. Now, there are some differences here. Short sale is going to come with a typical warranty deed, okay? Normally, like 99.9% of the time, just like everything else. It's got all the assurances. There's no liens against it. There is no, that we know of. If there are, we'll help clear it up. There's nobody coming after the property. We didn't put any liens on it. There's all these warranties that come with that. A bank-owned property, REO, that comes with a special warranty deed. All that thing, we own it is one of the other things for general warranty deed. On REO, the only two assurances you have are we own it, meaning the bank saying we own it, so we can sell it, and we didn't put any liens on it. Okay? Now, there's also, we don't know of any liens on it. There's no liens that we don't know about, or there's no liens that we know of and we didn't put any on there that aren't shown up yet. Okay? Those are the only two assurances. So what could be happening here happens all the time. This is why it's not just, when your clients want to buy a bank-owned house, you need to know this. There is risk involved. Because if the owner of the home had a furnace put in a year ago, and then the bank foreclosed, they never paid for the furnace, by the way. The bank foreclosed on them, went to the sheriff's sale, didn't sell, and you bought it as a bank-owned house, there's no liens on it, the bank owns it, the bank didn't put any liens on it, but then that furnace guy shows up a year later and says, hey, I'm owed $5,000 for this house. He puts a mechanics lien on the house. Now you just bought a house with a $5,000 mechanics lien on it because it comes back and there's nothing you can do about it. You got to pay it off when you sell the house or before. Okay? There is risk here. People just like, oh, I want to buy a bank owned, I want to buy a foreclosure. Okay, do you really? Just make sure there could be people chasing this house that we don't know about. Okay? Sheriff's sale, we're super risky. There's no assurances here. This is all your own due diligence. There might be a huge amount of taxes owed. There might be weed liens from mowings. There might be a mortgage on the property. I mean, it is like lots of stuff. Maybe a second mortgage. So like you buy it at a sheriff's sale, you know what the first mortgage is because Wells Fargo foreclosed on them. And you know what their judgment amount is of $420,000. What if there's a second mortgage and a HELOC and taxes and a lawsuit against the previous owner and you're buying a very risky house here, okay? But that's what you take. That's the risk you take. You do your due diligence, you'll be fine. Tax sale, same thing. A lot of problems here with the tax sale. This is when somebody didn't pay their property taxes. The government sells it and you're gonna buy it really pretty cheap, generally for like taxes that are owed on it. Could be really expensive too. It could be like a piece of junk house with $30,000 of taxes. But there also could be loans against it. That could be, I mean, on and on that story goes again. And you're gonna get a tax deed here. You're gonna get a sheriff's deed here. These are like virtually no protection. It's just that you own it. It's like the quitclaim deed basically. So that's what those are. And then like Marion County has a tax sale once or twice a year, not real often. The sheriff's sale happens every month typically. Okay, auctions, these are, you can do online, live, there's normally gonna be a process where you have to register for them, but the seller is still an owner, generally speaking, unless somehow the auction company owns it, right? But the seller is somebody that owns it. There's gonna be a sales disclosure, there's not gonna be a sales disclosure, not gonna be a sales disclosure, not gonna be a sales disclosure, there is gonna be a sales disclosure here, there should be a sales disclosure, unless it's a bank that's auctioning it or something, which is absolutely possible. I bought one myself like that. But this is gonna be different, there's gonna be buyer's premiums, not a big deal, it's pretty easy, and you can always talk, in any of these cases, well, this one and this one, but not as often this one. REO and auctions, the agents or the auction company or whatever, they're very helpful. They typically know how to do this. That's why they're doing it. So they're sometimes they'll act like you're a turd when you don't know. They'll be like snooty with you, like, oh, I can't believe you never buy REOs. You're like, of course I never buy REOs. Like most people want a normal house, you know, like but you'll get used to it, no big deal. But you can always ask them questions. And I've had great times, talking through stuff with those type of agents because they do know what they're doing typically. And then you got your estate. This is when somebody has died. We're going to sell their house. They have an executor of the estate that's signing for the deceased person. It's not a big deal. This does not have a sales disclosure. it's going to be transferred like normal as far as the deed goes. There's really not much to know here. Only thing is you're not going to be working with the person that actually owned it because they're dead. You're going to be working with their family member or something like that. But you have to be very careful on these also, because if there's no money in an estate, say all that grandma had is this house, everything else was just trash, junk, and cats, well, nobody's going to put money on the line, and the house is junked, and there's not enough money to pay off the mortgage. So let's say grandma owes 150 grand on this because she did a stupid reverse mortgage, and she started building up her mortgage as she grew old. She owes 150 grand on the house, it's worth 100. You can believe that the estate is not going to, if they don't have any other money especially, they're not going to pay money to sell this. They're not going to bring money to closing to sell it. And two, they're not going to go through the hassle of the short sale because they don't get any money anyway. So if you can't clear your mortgages here, do not waste your time. So when you're working with an estate, it's a good question to start talking about how much we owe, get your payoffs ordered early, get your title work done quick, because if there is, I had this happen recently, the estate people thought that there was a mortgage of $108,000 on the house, and there was. We get title work pulled, and there's also another $32,000 loan on there that nobody knew about because grandma had taken out a loan with the government, some sort of restructuring thing, owed $30,000 extra. Now all of a sudden we had to sell the house at a much higher price because the estate had no other money, they weren't going to bring any to closing, and they weren't going to go through the hassle of a short sale because why? There's no benefit to them at all. Zip, zero, zero, so say bank can have it, and it's done. So that's the only things to watch out for that I know of on an estate. But I've done that one. I've helped people do that one, done that one. Never bought a tax sale. So, but I plan to go to the next Marion County one if anyone wants to tag along. And if you want to go down to the sheriff's sale, let me know. All right? Any questions? I know it's a lot of information. It's important to know the risks are here, here, and here. These are risky deeds. You don't have a lot of protection. This is horrible, hard, and long. That's easy, that's easy, that's easy, that's easy, that's easy. So this one's hard, but it's got good protection. This one's easy with good protection. This is easy with good protection. These are easy with terrible protections, especially these two. And the tax sale, get this. The tax sale is the one that has the redemption period, okay? So a tax sale, Patrick, he's my guinea pig here, he owes $30,000 taxes on his house that he hasn't paid. This is property taxes. I come to the tax sale and buy his house for $30,000. Depending on certain things, I'm going to use this as an example, Patrick has a year to redeem the property. That means to buy back the property. He can literally buy that back for 30 grand plus 10%. So I really can't do much with that house for a year. And a lot of times you won't even get the tax deed. Maybe you don't ever get the tax deed until the year's up, because it's still his house and they're saying you got a year to redeem it. So the good news is in 1 year you make 10% on your money if you're the investor. It's like pretty decent. If you don't get that, then you get the house. So either way, it's a good investment as long as you've done your due diligence and find out Patrick owned it free and clear because it's been in his family for 150 years. All he owed on it was the taxes. You knew what the taxes were. You bought it anyway. It was a good deal. He bought it back. Well, you made 3 grand on your 30. That's 10%. That's good investment. If he doesn't buy it back, then it's your house, and you knew that was a good deal because you did your due diligence. So that's something to know about the tax sale. You got your redemption period there. So that's it. Any questions, ideas, thoughts, things I missed, types of sales? There's probably other ones, but these are ones that you'll run into pretty common. You're not going to really go to the sheriff's sale with people. I mean, you might just for fun if you have an investor, because you're like going to sell it for him, but you don't get paid on this. Okay, I mean you can somehow maybe figure out how to get paid on it. If you like do research on them for him or something, and you tell him what one to go buy, and he goes and buys it, you maybe say, I'll take 2% or 1.5% or 1% of whatever you pay for it. You can work out your deals on the side, no problem. But well, kind of can't be on the sideline side. You still have to pay the managing broker has to get paid, right? And then you get paid. You can't get paid sideline for real estate, but you can work this deal out however you want with your investor. Same here. Here you turn in that registration that we talked about, and that's going to get you paid typically. State's normal, short sale is normal. Something important. Short sale, the maximum you're going to see short sale commission if you're going to list one is 6%. Okay, 6%. Many of them are 5%. The bank will limit it to 5%. They will only be willing to allow the seller to pay you 5%. Again, remember the owner of the home, the person still owns the house on a short sale, so they may be willing to pay you 27% commission rate. Sweet, lock them into it, no problem. The bank's going to change it and adjust it down to 5 or 6%. So here is a trick to keep yourself from getting shorted cash. Lock them in at 7%, 6%. Again, they're not getting money back, so they don't really care what they're paying you. So lock them in at 7%, okay, or 6%. And then on your BAC, do not split it in half. Because check this out, your BAC on MyBor, that is your contract. That is an offer written by an agent at the time of the BAC that's listed at 3.5%. You're now in contract with that agent for 3.5%. What happens when the bank drops this to 5? So bank drops it to 5, what do you get? 1.5. Same here. Now you get, you gave them 3, so now you're getting 2 when the bank drops it to 5. So here's what you do. You lock them in at whatever and give them, you said it, 2.5%. Offer a BAC of 2.5 and either A, keep whatever's left, or B, write in the agent-to-agent remarks that this number will go up if the bank allows it. We're splitting it 50-50, which you could actually do a percentage. I think on the BAC, you could say it's 50-50 or something, but you just have to make sure, this is the key. Don't shortchange yourself on these because the bank's gonna limit you. So give them 2.5% and then you keep 3.5 or bump them up. They're not gonna complain about that. You just can't bump them down, so don't get shortchanged. All right, that's something important about short sales to think about. Crazy, all this stuff just pops into your head as you go. Anything, questions, thoughts, ideas? All right, that's a lot of information. Good luck.